What's up again, everybody? This is Disney's Lorcana, and it has the capacity to be the largest card game release, not just in 2023, but perhaps in recent memory. And that's saying something because we are in what is perhaps a renaissance of trading card games, if you will. Not only do you have your opportunities to play those big three card games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, but you also have some fantastic amazing other games that are released right now, Flesh and Blood being my absolute favorite game perhaps of all time. But all of those card games now have to contend with the juggernaut that is the Disney Lorcana trading card game. There are people that think that this could perhaps be more of a cash grab, but I would argue that after you watch this video and see the products and the philosophy behind the game and what Ravensburger, the creators of the game, are putting into this, you may want to think differently, and it may behoove you to check this game out. You might just have a blast with it, and I'm hoping that I do as well. So let's talk everything there is to know about Lorcana. First things first, this is releasing August 18th to LGSs. Now, it's going to come to LGSs first, which is local game stores. It's going to start there and then release in bigger box stores on September the 1st. And this trading card game will start with the first chapter, which is an apt title for the first set of a trading card game. And this first chapter is going to be 200 plus cards. The set itself will have a variety of products, which we'll actually take a look at here. And as you can see, it is heavily themed with Disney locales and characters, and you are going to be engaging in, the creation of these characters through the use of what they call ink. So as we dive into the product list for this first chapter of Lorcana, it helps to understand how these products function and what they are designed to do so that we can better understand what the philosophy is behind the game. If this is just a cash grab or if this is something that, Ravensburger and Disney really wants to be a mainstay in the TCG space. And as we look at the full slate of products, we can see, as you of course can rifle through here, you can see a couple of those images. The one that's missing is the booster box of booster packs. They don't have an image of that here, but they have posted it on their official Twitter, as well as a couple of other socials in general, starting with their starter decks. This is a starter set product like you would see in any other trading card game. These are themed decks around different colors within the game, different inks within the game. These heroes or characters that are on the front here are representative of cards that you can play within that deck. Very similar to Pokemon, right? You might find a 2-card Pokemon deck that centers on the synergies that perhaps these two characters have, and that is something that I believe is really what they're pushing here as well. But as far as what you can find in the contents, we have a starter deck of 60 cards, so a 60-card starter deck just like Magic the Gathering, just like Pokemon, including 2 foil cards of the characters on the package front, which again speaks to the idea that these function similarly to starter decks in Pokemon or starter decks in Magic the Gathering. Now, there are 11 game tokens, and that's kind of interesting because that's a lot of tokens. And what this could be is these could be literal token cards, right? Say you have a card, here's a Flesh and Blood card, for example, that this card just represents, a piece in-game that you would put into the deck or that you'd have come down onto the field and then do a thing. Could represent that. Or it could represent perhaps like small punch-out tokens that you would use for status effects, like in Pokemon, where you have like the poison counters you put on, or the counters that represent how much life someone has left. Or it could even go so far as to represent the win condition of the game, like you would have in, for example, Keyforge. Now, Keyforge, they had 3 keys that you would flip around as a unique deck game. In fact, I just made a video on my own channel about it. Keyforge, it was a unique deck game wherein you had to forge 3 keys to win the game. It was an alternate win condition that was not so much about killing your opponent. It was instead about racing to this win condition that you had to go and get. And I think that we could see something similar in Lorcana, and perhaps some of these tokens represent what you have to either collect or complete in order to win a game of Lorcana. You also get a rule book, and you get a booster pack of 12 cards, of 12 randomized cards. So a 12-card booster pack inside of the starter product. I love that. I think that's great. As long as the price point is good on this, this sounds like a standard, starter product. As far as booster packs are concerned, they are going to come in booster boxes, I believe, of 24. We don't actually know if it's 24 or 36 like you would see in like a Flesh and Blood Magic the Gathering or a Pokemon set. But the picture that we have seen of it does appear to be booster packs in stacks of 3, and it is short enough to remind me of something like a Magic the Gathering booster box of like 24 packs, right? But we do know that these are 12 randomized cards in a booster pack. They will sell them like this in, I guess, retail stores and as well as big box stores like LGS's and big box stores. They have the little hanging blister packs as well, the ones that are surrounded by like a paper backing that you would see in like a Target or a Walmart that they are going to be selling as well. But essentially a booster pack is a combination of 12 cards, 6 of them being common, 3 of them being uncommon, 2 of them being either rare, super rare, or legendary. And we can assume that they're going to do the normal TCG thing where they put one of them as a rare and then, a super rare or a rare legendary. But if they do a super rare and a legendary in a pack, that would be exciting as well. This also, by the way, tells you your rarity system. There are 5 rarities that we know of. They could perhaps hide a secret rare in there as well. I know Pokemon does that. Yu-Gi-Oh does that. Flesh and Blood technically does that. Magic the Gathering, they just do a billion different treatments. But anyway, this speaks to 5 different rarities, and I prefer that number over something like 6 or 7 or some just giant number of rarities. Give you 5, make it to where the common cards are a little bit more approachable. It's easy to understand for new players, and these higher rarity cards a little bit more complex. That sounds great to me. And then finally, you have 1 foil card per pack. So we do know that foil cards are going to be more readily available compared to something like a TCG like, Genesis Battle of Champions, where a foil card is incredibly rare and maybe only 1 per booster box. This is going to be more akin to like the bigger like Flesh and Bloods or, other trading card games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, where you get a foil per pack. They all are also releasing a gift set, which reminds me very heavily of the Pokemon theme boxes that you can buy, where you're getting 2 oversized cards. So these are like large versions of these cards, and then you get foil playables in deck, so you can put the foil version in a deck and actually play them. And then along with that, you're getting 34 game tokens, and that's suspicious. That's interesting. And what these game tokens could represent could be something akin to the resource system that you see in Magic the Gathering, a land-based system wherein you need tokens in Magic the Gathering, they're lands, to represent the resources that you would use to pay for your cards, okay? So if we have a resource-based system wherein you take a 60-card deck and you put in 20 lands, or in this case, in this game, inks, to pay for your cards, and then you have this system on the board where you play down your inks, 1 per turn. You can then pay for your larger characters and things like that. This kind of alludes to that possibility, if you will. So I could definitely see this being a land-based system or a resource base where you build that into your deck. I personally prefer games to not have that system. I like alternate resource systems, but that is sort of the mainstay ever since Magic the Gathering kind of slammed down onto the scene in the 90s. That's what we have for a lot of resource systems and games. Do I think it's the best? No, I don't. So leave a comment down below. What's your favorite resource system? I want to know that if you're a big card game player. And then also you get 4 booster packs of 12 game cards each. So 4 booster packs along with 2 foil cards and perhaps 34 game tokens that could represent the different inks that you would put into your deck. This, in a way, is like a mix between like a gift set, like in Pokemon with the different cards and the oversized cards, and also like an ETB, like one of these, right? So I have a Pokemon ETB right here, Crown Zenith. It reminds me a little bit of this because, in this you get some of those little resources you need, like the energy that you need to put into the deck. And same thing with like those old, why did I blank on the names of those Magic the Gathering boxes? Someone tell me in a comment below what the names of those are. I forgot what they're called. The ones that have all the lands in them, right? And then finally, the ultimate choice, Illumineer's Trove. This is like a larger kind of box set box where you get a storage box for cards, you get deck boxes, you get 8 booster packs instead of 4 or 1 for the others products. You get 15 game tokens, less tokens than you get here, which is intriguing. and you get a guide. And not only do you get a guide, this reminds me of like the ETB where you get like a full like book that tells you the list of all the cards in the set. So that's kind of interesting. And I'm sure this is going to be very beautiful. And this is the beauty of having the IP of Disney, is that book could also act as sort of like an art book for the game, wherein you just can flip through it, take in all the beautiful art of, all the Disney IPs that you're playing around with, or the Disney characters that you're playing around with. And then as far as accessories are concerned, this speaks heavily, as I smack the mic with my hand, it speaks heavily to what they are actually trying to do for the playability of said game. They're putting out card sleeves, which are 65 matte finish card sleeves. So enough for you to buy a deck plus a few extras if they split, right? That's smart because this is literally designed for play in mind. Deck boxes so that you can carry this to your local game store when they have organized play events. And yes, they're having organized play events. They've already announced it. So that you can actually go and play in person. So it's got players in mind. Play mats, because you want to actually play the game, so you want a play mat that has like the art for your characters, right? So play mats exist. They're going to release play mats as well. And look, they even said they're going to feature Maleficent, Maui, and Mickey Mouse. How fun is that, right? And then portfolios. And of course, this, no matter which way you take it, portfolios for collectors only or collectors, traders, and people that play the game. Portfolios are always great. I've got a bunch of them back here for Flesh and Blood. You kind of need that sort of thing. But all of this speaks to the game being something that Ravensburger wants you to actually engage in and play. And I guess this is perhaps the right time to talk about the fact that they are releasing this game in a bunch of different languages in a bunch of different countries. So this is going to release in English, French, and German, in those 3 languages at release on August 18th. It's going to be available in US, Canada, UK, several other European countries, which are France, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg. This has been designed for over 2.5 years, and they actually brought on several, prominent figures in other card games to go in and design this game and work heavily with this. And that speaks, again, to what they want. They don't necessarily just want to make a set that you can collect and then just move on with your life. They want you to engage with this product over and over again. And they've also said they're releasing multiple sets per year, and they want organized play in the local game store. They're releasing 4 sets a year at a 3-month interval. That is in my mind, a perfect set release structure. And overall, it allows for, an engaging OP experience in the actual LGS, which is where they said they want to hold these things. And that is very cool. Now let's talk about possible, like how a card might play. So here is Elsa. Elsa looks like, if we're breaking down the anatomy of this card, looks like Elsa's going to cost 3 to play, 3 resources of some sort to play. It doesn't necessarily look like you have to spend X amount of resources unless this little symbol is just delineating not just its, ink type, but also what you have to spend to play it. I'm going to guess that you can probably just spend 3. Perhaps they require you to, pay 1 of the color that correspond to the color that they are of the ink. But we don't know that for sure yet until they release info for how the game plays. But we can kind of glean a lot of information from this card and the other cards in general. For example, this is clearly representing power or, attack. This is clearly representing toughness or health. We have some overall affiliations here: Dreamborn, Hero, Queen, Sorcerer. So effects, card effects can reference these. Very standard TCG stuff, right? We have an effect that says freeze, exert a chosen opposing character. Looks like you may have to pay 1 to activate this, or that could be a tap symbol. I don't have the ability to zoom in too far, but it could be a little tap symbol, an exert, where you exert this and exert an opposing character. Pretty cool. And then we come to my most intriguing spot on the card, and it's this little pip. I have no clue what this pip is. Well, that's not true. I have some clues as to what it could be, but I have no official clue, I don't think anybody does, as what this pip is, but I'm going to tell you my thoughts. Now, I was talking to my good buddy, Flake, also known as Matt, on the internet, and we were trying to figure out this as well, because he's very excited for this game, as am I. And this pip could represent a variety of things. One of the things I thought at first is maybe it's a deck building restriction. Maybe you can only have X number of pips in your deck. And he suggested maybe it's sort of related to your win condition. And I thought that was a great idea, and now I kind of agree with him. Maybe this game is not about reducing your opponent's health to 0, like most TCGs. Maybe it's related to something more akin to Keyforge, where you are racing to collect X amount of resources to win the game. And having this pip on the board gives you one of those. And so you're incentivized to use your characters to try and remove other characters, and then also, maybe build up your own board. And it's maybe more of like a tug of war game. Or, and this is also a really good idea, it could be this, or this represents how many prize cards your opponent receives for defeating your characters, like removing them from the board. So, for example, on a very small card like this, if your opponent defeats your Elsa, maybe they get 1 prize card, a la or akin to Pokemon, because Pokemon has a prize card system where if you take all the prize cards from your opponent, then you win the game. Basically, you just earn all your prize cards, you win the game. So this could definitely represent prize cards as well. And you can kind of see more of this on like Robin Hood, for example, wherein he costs more, he does more damage, he has more health overall, he has more effects, but he has 2 of these pips. And so all of a sudden, maybe these 2 pips are representative of your opponent trying to target him down and then gain more resources or gain more, prize cards. And the same thing can be said for Stitch, who has 3. Stitch has 3 of these pips and costs 6, and as a 3/5 body, has Shift as well, which I could make a whole nother video on keywords and things like that, but I'm going to avoid that right now. This pip system, I really want to know what that is. And that's not the only thing I want to know what that is, because there's a symbol down here that could delineate our rarities. I am of the opinion that this one looks the most basic. It's just a circle with a couple of cool looking lines. I would guess this would be common. My next guess, this little book symbol looks a little fancier. This appears to be uncommon. I would then say, right here we have more of a rare. This feels like a step up. So I would guess that this would be your rare symbol. And then the last 2 cards that they show outside of Stitch, which also looks like a rare, they give you a diamond, or not a diamond, excuse me. They give you a triangle with a different color. This strikes me as a, like a super rare, perhaps Corella DeVille being a super rare. And then finally you have this. I mean, that has to be legendary symbol, right? That has to be the legendary symbol, and it fits because it's Maleficent, and Maleficent, that's a big body, like a lot of damage, cost a lot. That comes down, it banishes a character. That's kind of a big deal in TCGs overall, and I think that's your legendary right there. So I say all of this to point out the fact that there are systems in place to make this game accessible and playable and relatable to existing TCG players and people that just want to pick up the game for themselves. It appears that these systems are intuitive overall and easy to grasp. So if you're not a TCG player, this should be something that you should be able to pick up and run with. And that is a very, very good thing for both this brand, which is approachable to younger players and to families who may not play TCGs, as well as card game players, because this is a system that is easy to iterate on and upgrade because you have this core system that is simple that you can then increase complexity as far as the cards are concerned, increase the complexity of cards and make the cards themselves the strategic kind of play there instead of just making a complex system. Now, if you're looking for more information on Lorcana, I would highly recommend that you go check out their Twitter because their Twitter does have like other cards that they've shown off. For example, what is this? Jumba Jukiba from Lilo and Stitch, which was by the way, super underrated movie. Lilo and Stitch doesn't get enough love and credit. Looks like he has one pip over here. Man, I just want to know those pips, man. I want to know what those are. Cost 5 is a 4/5, which is a pretty standard body. Like if you know Hearthstone, the 4/4/5 body, the classic, what was it? The Yeti, right? It reminds me a lot of that. They also had an Olaf down here. Olaf was a 1 cost 1/3 with probably 1 or 2 pips. I forget. They've actually shown that. I think maybe a fuller version of this card, or maybe I'm misremembering it. Either way, they've shown that as well, and then they've shown Dragonfire, which is an action. is an action that says banish chosen character. It costs 5 with a different symbol. And I don't know what that symbol means or if that symbol matters at all, if it's different for a reason. Perhaps we don't actually know. Overall, banish chosen character is very, very powerful and it costs a lot. And that does also speak to a different card type in the game, because up to this point, we've only seen these kind of character cards as well. So I definitely highly recommend that you check out their Twitter, as well as join their Discord, the unofficial Discord. I joined it literally like today, and I've been looking around on it, and I really like the Discord. There's a lot of positivity there, a lot of people that are really excited to see how this game functions and plays, as well am I. And I do think this is something that is worth your time, and I very much hope that you check this out and give it the time of day, because I know I'm excited for it. By the way, there's the booster box product that I was mentioning earlier. This is something that is going to be a slam dunk for the IP. And I think, based on the way it was designed with the people that were designing it, and based on the overall like breadth of products that they are presenting for people to pick up, and particularly the starter products, I don't think this is a one-off. They've already talked about making more sets per year. They've already talked about organized play, and there's more of I'm sure, for them to announce on those fronts. But it doesn't feel like something that they're just going to one and done. Now, whether or not they have the capability of sustained success, that's a completely different topic. And that's something that we can make another video on, because that's going to take a different approach overall than just, releasing, a successful first product. But I don't think that they are trying to release this and then just move on with their lives. And that is very exciting, because I think this has the capacity to be one of the biggest TCGs in the space in the past decade, I'll say. If you enjoyed this video, make numbers go up to other numbers. It's fun watching numbers climb. Just hit a button and see a number go up. That's pretty cool. Trust me, I know. I've been watching that number go up for years now. As always, thanks for watching.